This is a season of graduations. Many colleges have already had their own commencement ceremonies at this point. If not, quite a few will be held over the course of the Memorial Day weekend. And high school graduations, mostly not yet, but over the next couple of weeks, many high schools will hold their graduations as well. So I thought this morning I would address the graduates, the young Jewish students around the country who are ending one significant chapter of their lives, whether it's high school or college. These days we have preschool graduations and middle school graduations, but ending one significant chapter of their lives and beginning a next significant chapter. So to the class of 2024, and maybe I should say to the Jewish class of 2024, my dear graduates, my task this morning is to speak to you and impart some message that you might carry forward into the years ahead, a message that would guide you or perhaps even help you decide on the direction of your life. That's a daunting task for a graduation speaker any given year, but this year the challenge is greater than I can ever remember it. But that responsibility falls on me today, and one must at least try, give it a shot. And that is actually the first of the 3 points I would like to make this morning. These ideals, 3 ideals that I hope you'll consider and maybe even carry forward with you into the years that are ahead of you. We hope they'll be bright and beautiful. The first of those, again, one must at least try. You have to at least try. Another way of saying that is this: do not despair. Do not despair. I imagine you sit this morning in your graduation robes, looking out on a future that at first glance at least appears bleak and dark and difficult. And if that is what you see when you look to the years ahead, I have to be honest with you, you might be right. We're living in difficult times. We're living in turbulent times. One only has to glance at the headlines in the newspaper, or for your generation, probably the news feeds on your phones, to have a sense of how troubled the world is. Externally, there are troubles. Externally, gun violence and climate change and rising political populism and war. Internally, there are signs of trouble, rising rates of depression and suicide and drug use. And emotionally, there are signs of trouble across the country. Anger, fear, and suspicion have replaced hope and optimism and trust. It is a dark time. When looking around the world today, the phrase that perhaps best captures our sense of the present moment is a well-known phrase in the Jewish community: oy vey, oy vey. But that is where you come in, graduates. One thing you Jewish graduates share with all graduates everywhere, regardless of where you come from or how you were raised or ethnicity or religious background, one thing you share with all graduates across the country is that you are young. You are young. Now, people often look at youth and inexperience as a disadvantage, often, but I want to suggest to you today that your youth is precisely the advantage that you have over me and everyone who is older than you are. One of the problems with getting old is that you can grow cynical and you begin to think that nothing will ever change. What did Solomon say in Ecclesiastes? Ein chadash tachat hashemesh. Nothing ever new appears underneath the sun. That is an expression of an older man. But your vision and your optimism and your enthusiasm, you remind me that there is a better way, that there can be a better way, and that when I think nothing might ever change, you tell me a better world is within reach. Your natural acceptance of those who are not the same as you, your desire to improve the world, your hope to help others and to make a difference, all of this brings hope to my heart and a sense to my soul that there is a future that can be both bright and beautiful. So let that same hope, graduates, come into your hearts You deserve to have it. Never underestimate the power that you have to make that kind of future, a hopeful, better, brighter future, a reality. And if there is one piece of advice that I hope you would take away from this talk this morning, it would be this. If you understand that your primary role in life is making sure the world is a better place because you are in it, then it will be a better place. It will be. There is no people in the world better and more experienced at maintaining hope during difficult times than the Jewish people. So Jewish graduates of 2024, live in that spirit every single day. A second responsibility that I would like to charge you with this morning might seem controversial these days, but nevertheless, this is my task again, so I'm going to lay it at your feet. As young Jews, you need to be Zionists. You must be Zionists as young Jews. Do not let other people define Zionism for you. Zionism has nothing to do with racism. Zionism has nothing to do with colonialism. Zionism, at its inception, was about one thing, and it is still about that one thing today, the right of the Jewish people to establish a nation-state in our ancestral homeland. That's what Zionism is. Now, I ask you to be Zionists, knowing that Israel is not a perfect place, and knowing that you know it's not a perfect place. Like every other democracy in the world, including the United States, Israel has its problems, it has its issues, it struggles with civil rights and ethnic identity, it struggles with the Palestinian population, it struggles with a severely divided political situation between the right and the left, but it is a democracy. And it is the only true democracy in the Middle East. It aspires to ideals of fundamental human decency, dignity, and freedom. Those are all Jewish ideals. And some would argue, by the way, that those are ideals that the Jewish people brought into the world. Israel today is more isolated, more alone, more challenged than it has ever been, at least in my lifetime. And the Jews who live in Israel are our brothers and our sisters, and they need us now, and they need you now, graduates. They need you now. I'm not asking you to say, everything you do, Israel, is okay. But I am asking you to say, Israel, I am here for you, and you are not alone. And then maybe you say, and let's talk. But remember, when you have that conversation, even if it's a difficult conversation for you, you are talking to your family. To your family. Be Zionists. Be Zionists. And a third thing I ask of you today, maybe this is the most difficult of all three. Be proud that you're a Jew. Be proud that you're a Jew. Celebrate your Judaism. Live your Judaism, not just on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Passover. Live it every single day, every day. In a world where moral clarity can be difficult to find, and it is, I struggle with that, but your Judaism can guide you with a bright and beautiful light. In moments when you are searching for spiritual solace and spiritual comfort, and there will be those moments in the years ahead. We all have them. In those moments, Judaism can calm you and soothe your soul, and with its ancient wisdom, enable you to feel grateful and humble and connected to something that is greater than all of us. In a life that can sometimes feel directionless, where are we going? Where are we supposed to go? In a life that can feel like that, Judaism can offer guidance and a pathway on which we can set our feet and walk together, and in so doing, make a brighter future. If you live as a proud Jew, all of those treasures will be yours. And one other thing, living as a proud Jew is the best way to push back against the forces of anti-Semitism that have been rising around the world during the last year. I've had young Jews, Jews of your age, Jews of your generation, tell me that in recent months they started wearing their Jewish stars openly, or wearing Jewish stars when they never wore them before. I've had young Jews tell me that over the last months they started wearing kippot on their college campuses. Young Jews of your generation. Be proud Jews. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, the exact opposite. Remember, each and every day that Judaism is one of the oldest and wisest traditions in human history. Human history. That some of the most important thinkers in human history come from the Jewish tradition. Rabbi Akiva, Maimonides, Einstein, you could have your pick. That the Jewish understanding of human dignity and human freedom and the value of human life, that has changed the whole world for the better, the whole world. And that the world is a kinder, more beautiful, brighter, more hopeful, more civilized, more decent, more holy place because of the Jewish people. Now, I don't say this to suggest that we Jews are better than anyone else. I don't believe that. But I do say it to remind you that who we are and who we have been and who we will continue to be is pretty damn good. And that you should be proud of that. Be proud of it every single day and live your life walking on that path. Of course, there are a million other things I could tell you about today, a million other challenges that I hope you will tackle, a million other hopes and dreams I have for you and your generation and your future and the future that I hope you will create. The list could go on and on and on. The list could go on, but the rabbi should not. Graduation speech shouldn't be too long. And I know you are eager to have this ceremony over and also to begin the next stage of your life, to get out there in the world and spread your wings and fly. And I know you are eager to get to the Kiddush as well. But as the graduates spread their wings, let me leave them with this. May God bless you and protect you. May God's light shine in your life. May God grant you grace. May God's countenance turn towards you, granting you light, life, and peace. Shabbat shalom.